The Miami Dolphins team preview coming into the playoffs. They are 9-8, straight up 9-8 against the spread. We're looking at their odds to win the AFC Championship. They're actually the longest shot, plus 3,000. In order to win the Super Bowl, they are plus 6,500, the co-longest of all the 14 teams in the playoffs. So this Miami team this year, they're going to be tough to look at a lot of their metrics because the team they have playing in the playoffs is nowhere close to the team that they had when they were at their best throughout a lot of this year. Now, they have some good wins at the Ravens, at the Bills, but that's not the same group that they will have here. They have a 3-game losing streak and a 5-game losing streak throughout the year, a couple bad losses. Bengals, Jets, Vikings were ones that stand out. They had 5 straight losses, and those ones really kind of changed the perception of this team. Tua, obviously, their starting quarterback, won't be playing. He's out. He's already had 3 concussions this year. They've had to play 3 different quarterbacks throughout the year. They've averaged 25.5 points when Tua started. When he didn't play, they've averaged 16.3 points, whether it was Teddy B or Skylar Thompson, who's a 7th-round rookie. They did split their 2 games with Buffalo this year, but the offense really struggled to move the ball last week. They barely got over the 300 total yard mark. They had 140 yards through the air, 4.4 yards per pass. They actually had more yards per rush at 5.1. They had to settle for 3 field goals. They only had 17 first downs overall on 9 possessions in that game against the Jets. And neither one of their top 2 wide receivers had a catch for longer than 15 yards last week. They were able to run the ball. They won the time of possession by almost 11 minutes, combining for 143 rushing yards. And Thompson had no turnovers in the game, which was huge in helping them get that victory. But it's been just a roller coaster of a season for them. They won their first 3, then they lost the next 3. Then they won 5 in a row where they looked really good, kind of beating up on inferior opponents. Then they had a 5-game losing streak where they looked terrible, but they found a way to win in the final game of the year that they needed to get into the playoffs. Just the 5th team in NFL history to make the playoffs after a 5-game losing streak. Their offensive line, though, really banged up and really struggling. 4 of the 5 starters last week allowed multiple pressures. And some of the parts where they struggle, they average just 5.8 yards per punt return and 18 yards per kickoff return. And their kicker, Sanders, finished the season 2 of 6 from 50-plus yards. He did make 1 to close out the season to help get them here, but their special teams is not fantastic. They're 7th in offensive EPA per play, 24th in defensive EPA per play, 17th in the Pro Football Focus power rankings. They did have the 2nd hardest schedule in the league, the 8th ranked team in DVOA. They have lost 9 straight games outdoor below 40 degrees, which is the longest active streak in the NFL. And 7 of those losses outdoors have been by 16-plus points when it's been very cold. Even their starting quarterback this week, Thompson, he has a sprained MCL. And the offense averages 2.2 yards less per play with Thompson than with Tua. Quarterbacks that have had at least 100 dropbacks this year, Thompson is graded quarterback number 47 out of 52. Hill has an ankle injury. The offensive line is just decimated by injury. Wilson has a hip and a groin injury. Their starting running back, Mostert, just had surgery on his thumb. He can't catch passes. He can't even really hold the ball, only with one hand. Chubb on the defensive side has a broken thumb and a wrist injury. In the secondary, Holland and Howard are banged up. This was a stat I guess a little piece of analysis I heard on the Bet the Board podcast. If this quarterback and collection of players with the injury issues they're dealing with and how bad they've been on the road versus at home, like this group would have been a 2 to 4 win team this year. They wouldn't have been a playoff team. They didn't have 2 offensive linemen, defensive, some of their stronger defensive players all healthy. It's going to be a tough task for them coming in with so many question marks and just not with the same team that they had throughout a lot of the year. And they're going to have to play the team that was actually the preseason Super Bowl favorite coming into the year in the Buffalo Bills. So Miami, big long shot. We'll see what the rookie 7th rounder can do. Keep in mind, no rookie quarterback has ever led a team to the Super Bowl or won the Super Bowl. They've made it as far as the conference championship. There's a look at the Miami Dolphins. If you want to play in Miami or any of your wagers, make sure to do so at Betfred Sportsbook. And if you ever need any help with anything, check out Better Than Vegas at BTV Bets for all sorts of analysis. And we'll have a couple more individual team previews just like this one.